Hello witches, welcome back to the channel. This is Hekterios once again. Welcome to all the new viewers and new subscribers. I've been getting a lot of new subscribers recently, and I want to say hi to all of you. Welcome to the channel, welcome to the community. And thank you for participating in the comment section and for joining up with all of us, witches. I love to see interactions in the comments and connections being made, and this community is thriving right now. So thank you all for participating in that. So in this video, I want to go over, well, this is going to be an update to my video on the veil isn't just thinning, it's being dispelled. Okay, let's talk about this. Let's do an update. First, I want to talk about, or I want to give some clarity on what the veil is, okay? Now, I already touched on this in the previous video, in several videos, in fact. I've talked about, the veil is, it's not like a physical thing. I just saw a black butterfly outside my window. Interesting. The veil is not like a gateway or a doorway or any kind of physical thing like that. The veil is actually several layers. There's always, in the books and mythologies, they talk about 7 gateways to the underworld. So these gateways, these doorways, these veils are actually energetic frequencies. Okay, you can think, if you must see them as something physical, view them as bands of frequency, vibration, bands of energy, okay, that we pass through. So I talked about this in this way several times on my channel. That's what the veils are. They're energy bands, okay? We all have, well, actually, it's one of the laws of hermetics. Everything is vibration, okay? Everything is vibration. Everything is energy in motion, all right? And when you're talking about vibrations, you're talking about frequencies, okay? That's what frequencies are. That's what these energy waves are. Their vibration, their frequency, okay? So that's what the veils are. There's certain frequencies, there's certain vibrations that you're either on one side of or you're on the other side of it, okay? And so we call it a veil. Now, I talked about how each of these frequencies that we call the veils or the gateways are aligned or associated with also your chakras, okay? So there's seven gateways, there's 7 veils, there's 7 doorways, there's 7 chakras, there's 7 main chakras, okay? And each of them correlates to one of the veils, one of the gateways, one of the frequencies. So, as you are raising your consciousness, as you are empowering and activating each chakra and gaining access to that power, to that wisdom, keyword is wisdom, knowledge, you are raising your consciousness. You are raising your vibrations. You are crossing those veils, okay, to higher levels. So everyone is existing in different areas of consciousness, okay? Consciousness is partitioned into separate categories or separate realms of existence, okay? Each chakra is off, each chakra, each consciousness is in its own realm. This is how you have to understand it, okay? That's what the realms are. They're levels, areas. I don't really want to call it levels because that makes it seem like it's like a tiered system or a hierarchy. But really, it's more of where you put your focus at any given moment. Okay, we're all human, we're all changeable, and we all have our ups and downs, our good days and our bad days, etc. So they're different areas of consciousness. That's what these realms are. So there could be many people on this earth right now that are living in root chakra consciousness. They're in that realm. Okay? There can be many people that are living in their crown chakra consciousness right now. They're living in that realm. Okay? Their consciousnesses are on different, I'm going to have to say it like this just for the sake of explaining it, but their consciousness is on different levels, okay? And they're occupying different realms. Now, we're all physically here on the earth, but where are our minds at? They're in different realms from each other, okay? And there's several layers to this. It's very complex. It's not as simple as, just the 7 chakras, just 7 realms, just 7 frequencies and layers to this. There's layers within layers. There's wheels within wheels with all of this. And you need to understand that it's organic. It's a living, organic system. So it's not mechanical. It's not one size fits all type of thinking. Okay, it's actually very organic and very much complex in that sense. It's, what do they call it? It's complex organisms. So the more conscious that you get, the more consciousness that you have, the more of a complex organism that it is. When you're talking on the biological level. So it's the same spiritually. We are all different. We are all unique, even though that we all have a lot of similarities too. You have to understand that there will be differences and different layers and complexities to it all. But for the sake of explaining this all, I have to kind of simplify it for you. So the realms are areas that you occupy with your consciousness. Okay? So when we talk about the veils thinning, what that really means is that consciousness is changing. Okay? Consciousness is becoming cohesive from those different areas, from those different levels. It gets more cohesive during this time of year, during the veil thinning. When people talk about the veil thinning, that's what they're talking about. This consciousness Okay? So it's like I said in previous videos on the psychological aspect and the spiritual aspect. First of all, just to recover that in case you all haven't seen those videos, just to briefly touch upon that in this video to the sake of this conversation. Everything that we experience has a psychological aspect. You can't escape it because you experience everything through your consciousness. So there's always a psychological aspect to everything that you experience. You can't take that out of it. Can't take that out of the equation. Your consciousness is the experiencer. So there's always going to be psychology to it. So when we're talking about spirit work and magic and all of that stuff, there's a psychological aspect. Your consciousness is very much tied into that, tied into the process, tied into the outcome, and the entire experience. Your consciousness shapes it to a large degree. How you perceive it, how you perceive things is very much tied into it, and all of that. But at the same time, that does not mean that spirits are not real tangible things that are also outside of you, and magic and the spiritual realms and stuff like that. It's still greater than you. It still exists outside of you as well as within you. As above, so below. As within, so without. It is all interconnected. Okay? A lot of people I've been seeing recently are trying to talk about the psychological worldview, I guess, versus the spiritual worldview, but they're not actually versus. They're one and the same. Okay? And you have to understand that going into this. I know a lot of people who are beginners, this is just over their head, but the more that you get advanced in these practices and in these experiences, really, because you have to really have a lot of experience to get to this point of understanding what it is that's actually going on. And that's what it is. So when I was talking about in my video, the veil isn't just thinning, it's being dispelled altogether. That's what I was talking about. The world is evolving, okay? People are evolving out of these outdated mental paradigms and like the mainstream religions and mindsets. Okay, that is all key to this because it deals in consciousness. People are growing out of that. That's dying off from the world, and the world is growing into this new direction of higher consciousness. So when you talk about the veils being dispelled altogether, being dissipated altogether, what that really means is that consciousness, as a collective consciousness, on the world scale level, in the masses, is becoming more cohesive because it's dropping the mindsets of division and of what is the word? You know, a lot of people stay in a certain mindset, or they stay in a certain level of consciousness because of their mindset and view towards the outer, whatever it is that they view as the outer from their mindset or from their level of consciousness. They kind of stay in this box. And so for a lot of people, they stay at, you know, like the lower 3 chakras. The root chakra is your physicality. The sacral chakra is your emotions. And the solar plexus chakra is your personal willpower and your ego identity. Most people who don't pursue a spiritual path, they're in those 3 levels of consciousness. Like I said, it overlaps and there's layers to it. So most people stay in those 3 levels of consciousness, and that's where they stay. They stay put there because of their mindset, because of their choice of their consciousness. So, you know, when people then start to pursue spirituality, you know, the heart chakra is about love, and love is the bridge between your consciousness, your ego identity, your physical being, and your emotional self, and others, other people. Okay, relationships. The heart chakra has always been called the bridge between the lower chakras and the higher chakras, between the lower self and the higher self, between the self and the divine. So that takes you to another level of consciousness. Okay, then you have the throat chakra, the third eye chakra, and the crown chakra, which brings you to a level of kind of universal wisdom and divine wisdom and knowledge of your own higher self and how it relates to the cosmos at large, as well as other people, as well as your own lower self. So what is happening when we're talking about the veil dissipating is that the collective masses are ascending more and more. Each person individually is ascending more and more, expanding their consciousness and growing their consciousness more and more, and leaving behind the limited worldviews. And so that's what the veils are. They are these limitations. And as you personally move past them by raising your consciousness, raising your vibration, expanding your consciousness, you cross the veils, okay? So what is happening when I talk about the veils dissipating is that so many people are doing this. So many people are personally crossing the veils that we're starting to get to a point to where they kind of just don't even exist anymore automatically for new people entering this world. Those veils aren't even going to be existing anymore. Their consciousness is just going to already be here going forward. So that's what I mean when I'm talking about that. And that's basically my update on that topic. So hopefully that answers or that fulfills the person's request for an update on this topic. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any more questions about this, or want to know my thoughts on anything else related to this. and I'll be happy to answer that in future videos or just in a comment reply, depending. So I hope this was an informative video. I hope that you all enjoyed it, and I hope that you leave me a comment if you have anything to add to this as well. And I hope that you all had a great Halloween as well. So thanks for watching. Hail to the witches, hail Hecate, and blessed be.